Hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new.
Holy shit, this is crazy. What's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv. Guys, welcome to the show. Your first time here, do hit that subscribe and like button. And guess what an awesome show we have today. An amazing guest. And before we jump into that, just want to give a quick shout out. In the description, you're going to find a few links. Obviously, the most important, the links from our awesome guest. And then the link after that you're gonna find from Gene edited from a coffee link. People want to support. He makes some amazing frames with the moon and the buggy tracks and some amazing stuff. If people want to support that, and then after that you're gonna find my link from coffee, and after that you're gonna find my copper bottle link from coffee. If anybody wants to have a copper bottle to store water in that and drink, amazing benefits. So you can find that link there too. And yes, let's jump in with our co-host all the way from New York, my brother Gene. Gene, how are you, brother? How you doing?
Hey, Vika, doing great, brother. Thanks for putting my coffee up there, bro. I appreciate everybody checking that stuff out. Hope you like it and enjoy what I'm doing. It's a lot of fun. Um, yeah, I've been waiting for this week for this group to show up for a long time. Really psyched about today, guys. So thanks everybody for hanging out and taking time out of your special Father's Day to hang out with us. So happy Father's Day, everybody. And Uh, happy Father's Day to all the moms out there too who are doing it single and having to do both roles. That's tough out there, guys. And much respect to everybody out there who's doing stuff like that. So, thanks everybody. Hey guys, I want to throw in a really quick story. Last week I fell down the stairs. My cat had a little stuffed toy on there, and I hit it, and both my feet came out from under me, and I fell like 8 steps, and all I could think of on the way down was 9.8 meters per second, and I didn't even get that thought out of my into my head before I hit the ground. So, uh,
Did you calculate?
man, and this was last Saturday. So last Sunday I did the show, and I was still kind of taking inventory, but it was all okay. But I just want to say, guys, be careful out there because everything is such a fragile balance and ready to teeter totter in different ways. So I'm happy to report everything is fine, and just be careful, guys, because you know what, walking is not really much more than a series of controlled falls, right? Because what happens is you lean forward until the point where you're gonna fall, but you throw your foot out to catch yourself from falling, and you do that repeatedly. That's walking, right? It's not just putting one foot out in front of the other. It's a little more than that. So just wanted to throw that out there, guys. Be careful, and it's good to be back, guys. So welcome.
Oh yeah, brother. This is the thing. The problem is like we think we are still young, right? And we walk as if we have got like we are teenage. Yeah. That is the reason we are quite old. We might not look that old, but absolutely.
Oh man, we were talking about age last week. Remember?
Oh yeah, and yes, finally, what could I say about our today's guest? They have an awesome team. I could only say that an example I would give is like even a drop of water, continuous drop of water has so much power that it can break a rock. And I could call these guys the same way. The consistency have been amazing. From years, these guys have been doing like on their behind the truth. So it's an amazing pleasure to have these brothers here. I was also on their podcast. Amazing session we had there. For sure, we're gonna join more dots together. So Iron Run Media, right? Everybody knows them. I would start with Walt. Walt, how are you, brother? And welcome to Heliopsychosis.
I am good once I found that mute button, man. Yeah, I'm still getting used to StreamYard, but I am so glad to be here. I am excited. We've had this plan for a minute, and yeah, the fact that it landed on Father's Day didn't occur to anyone. So happy Father's Day out there to all those who, appropriately enough, might be fathers. You might even be a mother who's a father. You know how that works. Anyway, my mom raised me, so but yeah, it's good to be here, man. I have been digging what you guys have been doing. We kind of talked to Gene for a few minutes there before we went on, and we've had you over there. We just hadn't had a minute to get Gene in, so we definitely need to get him over there on the Iron Realm soon. But yeah, man, looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, brother, absolutely. Welcome. And then next we have Josh, also from Iron Run Media. Josh, how are you?
I am doing so well, Vika. Thank you so much for having us on. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, Gene. It is nice to meet you. I am constantly reminded what fragile human beings we humans are on a daily basis as I get older. So my thoughts and prayers go out to you as you navigate stairs. But yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
been great. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to have you, brother.
and finally we have Zach
From Globebusters and from Iron Media together. How are you, brother? You doing?
Hey, Vika. Hey, everybody. Doing well. Gene, awesome to meet you, man. I loved your intro there. Yeah, I had my slip. It was probably like 5 years ago in Denver, something right around there. And one of the toys was on the steps, one of the dog toys. And I fell right on my back. Like my lower back hit first. And I was just like, I hopped right back up. No harm, no foul. But every time now I go downstairs since then, I'm constantly making sure that step's there, and when I step down, there's nothing beneath my foot. Yeah, it's just ingrained in my head now. I don't ever want to fall like that again. Yeah. So I'm glad to hear you're all right, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's such a scary split second, and and then it takes a while to do the inventory. It's not
Yeah.
till
Oh yeah.
24, 48 hours later you're like, oh wow, I did hit that. Like, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I
Brutal.
felt it for about a week. I felt that little tinge in the bottom of my back. I was like, oh man, but it went
Oh,
away.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. I'm no stranger to back pain. I got 12 screws in my neck, 3 plates. And they don't always want to cooperate with me.
I bet that weather come
Uh,
changing, you feel it.
oh yeah,
When it rains in Florida next week, I know about it.
yeah, man, I'm right there with you, friend. I had a wreck back in 2010 or 12, something like that. It's a blur now, and had surgeries, the whole thing, metal rod and pins and screws, and they even took wire and wrapped around it, and yeah, it's a whole thing.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I definitely have that barometer in my arm as well. And the
Right.
cats, dude. Oh my God, me and Cat Toys have had quite a few near misses here. So I'm
Cats.
right there with you. I have.
Oh
That's
man.
what happened. I got an interview. I mean, a interlude come by. She stepped on the wrong key and disconnected me a minute ago. So it could happen again. If I disappear, you'll know it was cat related.
Cats do their own thing, bro.
They definitely do, and they definitely are their own people. Don't ever think you're going to let them tell them what to
Yeah.
do. They'll let you know. Don't worry.
Yeah. I think they're magical. Do you guys
Oh
know that?
yeah.
Right? Cat's purr is a healing frequency between, I think, 30 and 150 hertz, and it's proven to be healing. So it's like, look at how's that evolution, right, guys?
Yeah, my
How in the
cousin's
world?
cat would only come up to me. My aunt's cat, really. And his name was Leo. It was like an 18-pound, lived to be like 21 years old,
Awesome.
fought raccoons and stuff like that with no front claws, just a beast. But he'd come and lay on my chest while I was sleeping and sit there and like do the kneading, and then he'd do that
Yeah.
purr. And my aunt would be like, "Why does he do that to only you?"
That's
That way-
great. You're
'cause I'm the
special,
only,
man.
well, now I was the only one that was really nice to him, and every time I'd come in, I'd say hi to him. I made a
Yeah,
point to go right up to him first. That's me though. I like
that's cool.
when I meet an animal of somebody else's. Every time I go to the house, like the first thing I do is greet the animal because they're usually the first one to greet me. They're always right there
True.
at the door, and so yeah,
Yeah.
it's always a hello, how you doing, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I like look for the animals and in a public situation, in a Home Depot, I'm like doot, 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 my radar's on the dogs, and I try to go right over to them. I love animals, man. They're special in this world for me. I think if I wondered once or twice through my life if animals and plants are maybe even more spiritually attached, connected than we are. But
I
I
wouldn't
don't.
doubt it. I think just because of the fact that we're so disconnected, you know?
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I do. I think they're more connected than we are, and we can learn a lot from animals.
Yeah, man. I just circumstances and life and all that. I had not had pets in my life since 96, 98, something like that. And we got a cat about, I guess, 4 years ago now. And she had a litter that she came here with. We didn't know. And so we had new cats and we had kittens and the whole experience of kittens, like well. And so I'm back in it head over heels, loving my cats, loving them to death. And
Great.
then she got out and there was a second litter and it's a whole thing. So now we got way too many cats and I've done the whole taking them and, getting them fixed and trying to contain the mass implosion that's going to happen. But man, the learning that they have brought me, just the healing thing, number one, like every time I would get in a chair and Spot, the biggest male, would lay on me and his heart and my heart would be together and he'd start that purring, dude, it would just take me away. I would just go somewhere else. And soon enough, I'd be asleep. But before that, I would just be like, wow, this feels like when I meditate or when I'm doing out of body or like, yeah, he's definitely, well, he was on a different frequency. Unfortunately, he got a bad blockage and we had to put him down just not long ago. And so the other male cat, who's like my second tight buddy, that day we had to put Spot down. He walked up my chest, laid on me, and put his paw on my fucking face, dude, like a best friend, just no claw. And now when he wants my attention for food, there's a claw. It's not a hard one. This is just a little bit. Let daddy know, hey, this is time for food.
Tapping, yeah.
But not on the face and not on the heart. He was, oh my God, dude, I was bawling and he walked up me and he definitely brought the comfort. So their spirituality is unquestioned for me, with no doubt.
Yeah. Cool.
Guys,
That's
before
cool.
we jump, into, I just wanted to have a quick, a couple of minutes each, starting from Walt, Josh, and Zach, a bit about your experiences, right? How did it all started for you guys? When? What? A couple of minutes each, yeah, whatever you want to share about your experience, because definitely a lot of years, right? So.
Vika, your audio's not awesome, Vika. Your audio's a little
Having
muffled,
issues,
I
yeah,
think.
I'm having issues. That's what I'm trying to also connect and see, but yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Go ahead, Walt.
Well, I stumbled into this thing back around the end of 2014. I've always been into the other and looking into the craziness of our world and how it's not, usually what they tell us it is at all. And I came from a family who had a lot of different aspects that most normal families didn't have. My grandmother would get visitations from the relatives that would pass away in the night. They would come tell her goodbye. She'd wake up tomorrow and tell us all that Aunt Tootsie or whoever had passed away. And sure enough, we'd get a phone call a few hours later letting us know that she had definitely gone. And that was just normal. I mean, that was my life growing up. This is, I had strange experiences with we really don't want to get into the Walt show because it was 6 hours somewhere else. So, but I've had a lot of stuff, spiritual path. My grandfather was a preacher, so I had the Christianity to start with, and then questions and seeking my own path and finding all manner of spirituality that had a whole lot more to do with the things in my heart than this book that was full of rules and all these people who were two-faced at church. And so I made my own path and I found my own way and thought I had a pretty good beat on things. And I'm always watching the sky. I was always into UFOs, did a lot of research into that. So me watching the sky was a normal thing. And once I had a phone in my hand that could take relatively decent pictures, and I have telescopes and I have binoculars. In fact, I had gotten my son a set of astronomical, high-end astronomical binoculars for that Christmas the year before, 2013, yeah. And so always out with him, out looking at stars, and as Zach can tell you, he's been down here. We have great darkness here. We don't have a whole lot of light pollution. We have more now than we used to, but it's not anything like living near a city. So I'm out and I'm looking at the moon, and I see the moon do something. And it's not the lunar wave, but it's a wavy, almost like it went out of focus behind water for a second. And I didn't know what it was. And I'm like, okay, I've seen a lot of shit in the sky. I've seen weird cloud rings around the moon, and seen shooting this and floating that. And then this is nothing I've ever seen. So I knew YouTube had a lot of UFO videos on it. I'd seen some strange things on YouTube. Before that, all I knew about YouTube was music videos and UFO videos. But I went to YouTube and I looked up wavy moon. And of course, that led me to Crow 777's channel, which was looking into the lunar wave. So I started watching that because he's got great shots of the moon. And I don't know what the lunar wave is, but it's great shots of the moon. So I'm watching in the comments and it's like, flat Earth. What? Okay, whatever. Moon, flat Earth. I'm like, what the fuck? And he's even going, I don't know, guys, flat Earth, really? Next month straight, well, no, probably 2 weeks straight of just endless videos. Flat Earth, flat Earth, flat Earth. I'm like, there's no fucking way. There is no way in 2014 people think the Earth's flat. I knew about it in high school or junior high, whatever it is, Columbus on the cartoon. I knew all that. People don't believe that, right? I'm not watching this. I'm not watching this. I'm still trying to figure out what I saw about the moon. By this time, the moon stuff has led me past the lunar wave into all this hologram sky and weird digital images that appeared in clouds and all this crazy shit. But I still hadn't clicked on a flat Earth video yet. And I finally did, just to see what the fucking idiocy is about. And like every third little point, which was, it was a bastardized version of Mark Sargent's Clues. Somebody had taken and removed a few clues and put it on their channel under their name. And I didn't know that. I just watched it. And yeah, every third thing was some question I had for a teacher in school about things and orbits and this and that. And it was like, really? These are the questions nobody could ever answer for me. And I'm like, okay, there might be something here. And I started watching more videos. And of course it was the whole like, but NASA. So I had to get through NASA and all that. And while I'm doing all this, I'm like broken. My whole life has imploded. I'm not sleeping. The world has changed. There might be God looking at me right now. What's going on? I don't even tell my wife about it for like 2 months. I'm finally talking to her about it, and I bring my son into the fold, and I finally reach out to a friend. And long story short, I don't have that friend anymore. You all know those stories too well. And quickly realized this wasn't something I would just be talking about to general people I knew. So where do you go talk? I'm not going to Facebook. I hate fucking Facebook. I landed on Twitter. There was a lot of truth on Twitter, 2014, 2015. So there I was, flat earthing and finding great people. Got together with some good people and some DMs there. We started hanging out on Hangouts, actually, together, just talking about all these ideas. And I mean, there were people from every continent, every plane there is out there. And we were all trying to figure this out. We were doing like moon shots. Everybody, take a shot of the moon at a certain time on the 24th of January back then. And we did all these things with, trying to figure it out. And we met Bob, no doubt, and we met Jaron, and they started doing their Globebusters thing. And we watched that on Tuesday nights. And so I met these guys and it was like, why don't we do a show? Why don't we talk about this stuff? You know, we're talking about it on these hangouts. Let's talk about it like, you know, like Bob, Jared, and them are doing, and TJ. And by this time, I had met Josh. I'll let Josh tell you his side of the story up till now, because I feel like I'm just fucking rambling right now. So we decided to do a show. We don't have a clue how to do a show. None of us have a clue about any of this online streaming, none of it. But Josh was on the radio, damn it. He did really good. And I'm going to hand it over to Josh.
Well, I still don't know that I did necessarily all that good. It's always been a personality defect of mine, is not being able to keep my mouth closed. Maybe when it would do me better to be quiet. So I've always been that way, even as a young kid growing up. Kind of a smart mouth that would get me into trouble. My dad would tell me to think before I speak. Don't just let the words fall out of your mouth. So I just learned to think really quickly, and it just seems like the words were coming out, but I'd already put in quite a bit of thought as to the words that I wanted to say when they did come out, which led me to sort of, not, I wouldn't say confrontational, but I could, I guess, debate. Argue would probably be a better way to say it. Debate sounds a little formal. I could argue really well, and mainly just by pissing off the other person before they could make any really good points. And that's just the way I kind of was. But like Walter, I'd always sort of been curious about the other and into sort of the paranormal. But my family was, you know, pretty well educated and very pragmatic and not necessarily into entertaining things like that. So on one hand, I had the curiosity of the paranormal, and then on the other hand, I'm, as like a preteen boy, trying to listen to Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time on audio tape, and you're just trying to reconcile these things. And so I've always had this sort of even pressure from my family to be very intellectual and very educated, and to approach everything like that, and to make sure that if you're going to talk about something, make sure you've been taught about that thing before you try to speak on it intelligently. So then, yeah, and like Walter, is probably around November of 2014 that I saw somebody on Facebook, someone whose opinion I respected, from having looked into the whole legal concepts and escaping the matrix through the court system type of stuff. But he had been questioning the shape of the earth and said that we should look into flat earth, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous, but I knew who it was coming from, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And I can remember having that like visceral, that gut feeling like, what am I doing? Where am I in my life? Like, I've researched all sorts of stuff from probably like mid 2000s is when I really started researching. So I was pretty well in depth. I knew pretty much, thought I knew what to expect. And then he tells me flat earth, and now here I am, and I don't want to do it, but I can't not now. So I press play and I'm watching. I don't even remember what the video was. Maybe Math Boylan, maybe Mark Sargent. Like I said, it was pretty early, so there wasn't a whole lot out there to choose from. But I can just remember having my mind completely blown and my life thrown into complete chaos, like most everybody's when they find it. It's like time stops and you're just laser focused on trying to answer all these questions that pop up in your brain. You're like, oh, I'll get him with this one, but how do you travel around the world if you're on a flat disk? Gotcha. And you're like, oh shit, well, east to west, that makes sense. If you're pointed north and behind you south and you're going east to west, you're just going around. I get it. Okay. Shit. Now what do I do? I don't know. And the more I looked, the more sense it made to me. And the more I thought, well, I had thought I knew what the heliocentric model was too. And every time I had a question, I'd have to refer back. So now I'm learning a flat earth concepts. I'm relearning heliocentric models and concepts and going deeper and even further into the heliocentric concepts that I wanted to. And at the end of the day, I just had to say, well, I guess I just don't even know, other than, damn it, it sure does look flat and we can see farther than we're supposed to. So I don't know what that means, other than I've been lied to. And that was enough for me. And I was picking up my son from my ex-wife's house one day, and there on the radio, I hear the local afternoon drive talk radio guy. It's like a conservative talk radio station. His show wasn't political. It was just sort of a real laid back thing, but they like to get paranormal sometimes. And I heard him going over some news stories, and the big news story of the time was the fact that Neil deGrasse Tyson had gone on to Comedy Central and released this rap in response to B.O.B. saying that he thought the earth was flat. Now, I'd listened to this DJ for a long time, so I knew he was going to want to try to make fun of it. So I'm sitting there in my car in front of my ex-wife's house. I just had to do it. I just had to call in and be like, look, I didn't even want to get on the air. It's not like I was trying to go on the air to declare the earth is flat, but I just wanted to tell the call screener just to pass along the information. Just let them know. Like, you don't have to do it on the air. Just maybe don't laugh it off so quickly, but look at what they're trying to, the points they're trying to get across. It's not as ridiculous as your elementary school made you think it is. It deserves a second look. It's just, don't laugh it off. But rather than passing along the message, he passed me through to the studio and they put me on the air. And I basically said just that. It's, worth looking into. And then they wanted to ask a few questions. So it wasn't very long, but they invited me back on rather than do the call in. So I went back, I think, even the next week, just to talk about the flat earth and try to break it down a little bit, exactly why I no longer believe the earth was a sphere. And that led into more and more appearances in studio, to the point that I was doing like a weekly hit there in studio for their Paranormal Tuesday, and just trying to get in some of the more contemporary conspiracy.
And Josh is talking it down a bit. This is the largest Fox affiliate in the Midwest over there, and his, like, that's who he's talking to and talking about. What's his name? Glover?
Dave Glover. Yeah, at the time he was number one here in St. Louis. St. Louis is a pretty decent sized market, and yeah, it was a pretty big deal, I guess. For what it was worth. There's usually several 100,000 people, and in 2015 to come on and talk about the earth being flat, it was not something you'd necessarily hear. But yeah, I guess I go ahead.
Simultaneous to that, we're all trying to figure out YouTube and video and how to do it on the air. And I mean, I had radio experience, but it was always the fake DJ and all that crap. And I hated it, hated all that fakery. So trying to become me and not let that stuff come out because it's habit, that took a while. And then Josh was on the air. He was doing it, so it was like a whole dichotomy for me of hearing Josh go into the radio station, hearing the Glover with that silky, smooth radio voice. And I'm like, damn it. Okay, anyway. It was interesting to have that happening. And so Josh is going in there way overboard, way past flat earth. Tell them some of your topics, man. It was great.
Well, I mean, we did a little bit of everything. I got into, of course, flat earth, but like one of Crow 777's favorite episodes of mine was his one on Hadibov and the spiders. So I just sort of relayed that information from Crow 777 to Dave Glover and his crew there. And that was like a big hit. That was one that people would stop him for like weeks after to talk to him about the big spider overlords having come down to take over Earth. But there really wasn't a whole lot that I wouldn't cover, which I think is kind of what got me in trouble in the end. Because I think this, yeah, it might have even been Pizzagate at the time, I think.
Absolutely. Pizzagate was raging. The kids from I almost had it.
I'm no closer than I was on
So
Friday.
you guys early on, Jaron had a video. It was these two British kids who were being talked to by a lawyer about their experiences with their stepfather.
The
and when they were
Hampstead.
Hampstead. Thank you. The Hampstead kids. No? Yes?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the
that was
Hampstead
going
children.
on. And it had us all in flame. Like I was ready to destroy the world over these kids, you know? And yeah, that was going on. Pizzagate had started being such a big thing that they were all denying it. And, you know, all the covering up was starting to come out. And I still had all the pictures saved before they took them off the website. I still have them somewhere from their basement. They don't have. Anyway, it was a whole thing. So all that was going on. And then we were also discovering that not only were the lies deep, they went back a long fucking way. And like this certain group of people had mastered the fucking art of lie. Azarians, is that people?
Well, the question as given to me was who historically would be sacrificing children? And I knew as soon as he asked it, I said, oh, fuck. Right. I'm sorry, I declined the answer. So I did my absolute best. What of a landmine kind of question is that? I mean, I guess it's pertinent for the conversation, but
You're supposed to lie, Josh.
well, yeah, I suppose. And I suppose I probably should have said, I don't know, godless heathens or something, but I got into so the bottom line, I said I was referring to people with hats that are small and sit like up on top of their heads. And much the same way YouTube would pull this video down with the quickness, I think my return was canceled with the quickness.
Oh, you got a call live, didn't you? Like somebody was all in rage.
I think there's a couple of them. Yeah, I got a couple of, I don't know who is it? The ADL. I'm pretty sure it might have been somebody from the Anti-Defamation League calling in to tell me what nonsense I was talking about and how I shouldn't be allowed to be on the air and all this stuff. Now it's probably wouldn't be that shocking given this current political climate. But at the time, in 2015 even, they were not too pleased to hear about this. Historically, the people that might be sacrificing small children and getting kicked out of country after country after country. But that's what I told them. That was my last show I did for the Dave Glover show on the St. Louis FM radio waves. But
Awesome.
by that time, we were kicking, man. We were kicking at Iron Rim. Go ahead, Vikka.
No, I said, awesome. Like, the journey is so long and we get to experience so many different things and it makes our perception, like, helps a lot, like, but still there's a lot of stuff, right? There's so many different conspiracy, like, for sure it's all connected. But yeah, each in itself is like a huge rabbit hole, right? I would like to go to Zach also about his experience and how did you start it, Zach?
I was an actual NASA fanboy. You hear a lot of these Globers say they're NASA fanboys because they went and bought a model or this or that, or they got the Lego thing and it's just so cool and they love Star Wars. No, it wasn't like that. Like, I was infatuated with Nibiru back in 2012. And then I just got infatuated with all the different satellite data that NASA had and Suspicious Observer Channel and all these channels that had to do with space and space weather. So daily I was checking the SOHO, the LASCO, the SETI satellites. I was checking the big telescope observatories, just looking for new stuff and just, I don't know if any of it was even real now. I have no clue. But I was really into all that stuff. And then I was watching a Crow 777 video in November 2014, and it was the lunar wave. And I had already seen a bunch of Crow videos, you know, because I was all into space and everything like that. So it was this one. I was like, wow, that's cool. I wonder what that is, what he caught there. But then I go down in the comment section, and there's all these people saying, you guys need to go look up flat Earth. You guys need to go look up flat Earth. And I was like, wow, have we really fallen this far? Could it actually be? There's no way. And then didn't really, you know, I saw him in a couple more of his videos, never responded, never, you know, I'm not like that. I'm not going to tell somebody they're dumb or stupid or anything like that. But I was just laughing it off like, okay, what are we doing here? Come on. The Earth is flat. Get out of here. And it was actually the passing of my dog, January 5th, 2015. And it like changed me. He was my first dog that I raised from a puppy. You know, I was there the day he was born, and then 8 weeks later he was mine, and we were like inseparable. And he just went real quick because he was still real healthy, but they say he got into some kind of poison somehow. And there was like 4 other dogs that were there at the house at the time, because I would let other people's dogs hang out and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know what he got into or what, but yeah, it shut his kidneys down, and I had to put him down, and it just killed me. It killed me. And then, I don't know, I think it was like January 28th, maybe. I saw a Matt Powerland video, ex-NASA employee, sitting on a couch, right? Talking about the Earth is flat. I was like, all right, fine. I'll click on the video. I'll listen to it. And a lot of you have probably seen it. It was a good story. I wasn't like, you know, willing to even, it was still a globe to me at that point. It didn't turn me at all, but it was a cool story.
But was it a photo or was it a painting? That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Yeah. So I was like, you know what? That was an interesting story. Okay, I'll go watch one more. And I'm looking, and I see Chicago seen across Lake Michigan. This is a mirage, Jaren's video. And he started showing me the math. And as soon as I saw the math, I was like, no way. No way. I had been out to that lake so many times. Michigan City, it's like 38.8 miles from Chicago. And my uncle had a boat in the marina there. And it was like a big boat, 2 bedrooms and stuff. And we would go sleep on it every weekend in the summer, sometimes weeks at a time in the summer when he'd have vacation. But there's not much to do there for kids in Michigan City at all. So we didn't have a whole lot to do. They would sit there and drink with other boat people. So we would go and walk down to the lighthouse and stare at the lights of Chicago. And they were there just about every night. Unless it was real cloudy or foggy, you would see the whole Chicago skyline lit up every night. And that video just told me that that's a mirage. And I was like, get out of here. And then that was it. As soon as I saw the math and how much they said it curved. Now, I went and tested and stuff like that, you know, and checked myself. But, man, that was it. That's all I needed was that video. Now, I still had some doubt. Maybe it's a bigger ball, this or that, yada, yada, yada. You know, I still had a lot of research to do. But I knew we were being lied to about something on just a massive scale. And, yeah, I've always been into conspiracies. My high school senior thesis was on JFK assassination and it not being the real story. You know, I remember my mom told me George Bush Sr. got caught lying about something in the 80s. I was young, like 8 or 9 years old. And, you know, they were making a big harumph about it. I was like, so, Ma, who's going to be the president now? You know, like that's going to get you from not being the president, telling a lie. And she's like, oh, no, honey, he's still going to be president. And I was like, but he lied.
He said no new taxes.
Yeah.
He said no new taxes.
How is that possible? If he lied, then how she told me flat out, honey, they all lie. And right then I was just like, okay, I'm never believing in what any of these people say. You know, I've never trusted politicians my whole life, and I've always questioned the government. But NASA wore lab coats and did science. So that held on to, and I wanted to be the last starfighter. And, you know, the movies got me too, the space movies. So yeah, that second video did it for me. And then I was a chat warrior, or, well, not even a chat, but the comment section warrior for about a year. And then I decided, hey, I need to do more than just be in the comment section. And I went and bought a camera and started, you know, doing my own channel. And I ran into these guys a couple years later, did a couple interviews with them and stuff, just clicked. And they was like, hey, you guys, you want to join the crew? And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, it didn't take much at all. I've been with them ever since. It's been awesome, like family.
Absolutely, family.
Oh yeah, brother. This is the thing. I remember the hangouts and all these from those years back, right? So things change, right? And we get more and more, like, yeah, as you say, right? A bit more, and then you realize you're there on the forefront, right? So that's awesome. Before we continue, I just want to give a quick shout out to Iron Effie for that super chat. And yeah, for sure, we could go anywhere. Flat Earth is such a huge subject, you know. So I wanted to have some discussion about this last experiment, right? What are you guys thought and what is happening?
Yeah, the more I think about it, I'll go first. I see it being another greater sapien flying over the pole type thing. I don't think it's even going to happen. And people are probably going to lose money in it. That's why I think Jaren's so smart for saying, hey, you have to pay for everything. Not just that trip part, but my flight to, you know, Buenos Aires, my hotel, food, everything. I'm not paying 1 red cent. Because, yeah, or I think they'll get there and it'll be totally, you know, clouded over for however long they're there. But, I mean, I think it's cool if somebody goes just to gather data, just to do some, you know, any kind of data you can gather while you're down there. Take some
Out there?
compasses and stuff like, yeah, out there. Compasses and whatnot. And just see what's going on. I would love to see the stars facing outward. If you see even more of them from out there. So yeah, I think it's cool. It's a great opportunity. I don't know if it's even going to happen though.
Now, is this the same one where they're the ballers are outnumbering everyone like 6-1 or whatever?
No, it's supposed to be, I think, 2 and 2.
Or is this a different? This is a different one.
Same thing. They're just not outnumbered.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been getting fine tuned and stuff like that, but yeah, I haven't talked to Jaren or Austin this week yet. Took off Father's Day Glowbuster show.
Right.
So I'll find out next weekend what's going on, or they might have a show about it. Yeah, we'll see it. I don't know.
I'm going to say it's going to be inconclusive. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to figure out the size and the distance and the composition of the sun for any of this to make sense. So you can go out south and make some cool observations and point your camera at the sky. But I don't think it's going to determine the shape of the Earth. I don't think it's going to be an experiment in so much as that it in
Just
any
more
way.
observations.
Right. It's not going to be scientific in any way. You're not going to establish any sort of cause and effect by going to Antarctica to point your camera at the sky. That's just, I don't think that's how that works. But if somebody can get a free vacation out of it, fucking do it. That'd be cool. It'd be great experience, no doubt. But I think the day it's going to be.
But it has its risk, right? It has its risk, right? It's not like going to Switzerland right?
No, it's not even like going to Canada. Iron Realm actually had an offer back in the day, sorta. A gentleman showed up named John Brahma, and he alleged to be a member of the team. Come on, baby, you can't be on Data's keyboard. Sorry, y'all. And he alleged to be a member of one of the boats that guarded access to Antarctica. And he and his crew had been there a long time and had seen a lot of things, and a lot of things had changed them spiritually. And they had decided it was time for them to bring people to see what they had seen and experience what they had experienced, so that they would know that this world is not at all what we've been told. Now, at this point in time, being that we had jumped into this whole thing early, like 215, by 2016, we were, doing stuff. And by did we do Ironworks? Was that 2017 we started there?
I think late 2016.
Okay, 2016, we started at Truth Frequency Radio doing an actual radio broadcast show. That was where Jaron and Mark Sargent, and there were a lot of flat earthers were there at the time. And he told us that he chose us to come to us with this information and this offer because he had watched a lot of our stuff, and we seemed to be a channel that was more about the people and the spiritual side of things than the fame and the glory. And I mean, we were just trying to figure this fucking place out. So he shows up with this idea of, okay, I will bring, I can't remember how many seats now he had on offer. What many? 5, 6? What was it? I can't remember.
I don't remember off the top of my head either.
Tops 10 people, let's say that. It wasn't huge, let's take 40 people or nothing like that. So, but the deal was, this is where it got interesting, and where every show he came and was part of, we said, leading to it, during it, while he's there with us, afterward, do not think Iron Realm Media is telling anyone to send this gentleman anything at all. But his request was $1 million in crypto to secure your seat on the magic boat to beyond. And that was the plan, was to go to this place during the summer gate time, where we would have to not be, dude, we would have to be in a certain spiritual state, and we had to be,
He had worked out logistics. I mean, there were multiple boats, multiple legs of the trip. The timing had to be right. I mean, there were logistics that were already worked out. I can't speak to the authenticity of John Brahma's story, but I can speak to the amount of effort that he must have put forth into creating it if it wasn't true.
Absolutely. He put his fucking work together. But the thing was, it was, again, we told nobody, hey, don't send this dude no money. But we had been offered tickets behind the scenes. We had all had long, lengthy conversations with John through Proton Mail and through calls, and then it became single calls. And I would talk to John, James would talk to John, and Josh would talk to John, and he was picking every little thing to hook us. Our buddy James was sick. He had a cancer and an operation that had botched, and now he had lost his ability to have kids and wasn't doing well at all health-wise. And of course, this place was going to heal him up, and all of us who were ready for the mystic, otherworldly, let's go beyond this veil of this, all that, he had all that ready for. And again, the idea of how this state we had to be in to get through these gates, and the timing, and I mean, it got to a point where I was looking at getting my passport together, watching videos on the insanity of what traveling in that part of the world was like, and the reality of how easily you could die. And yeah, it was nuts. And it destroyed an integral part of Iron Realm Media at that time. the group that it was unbreakable, we thought, until John Brahma came along, and it broke a lot of people. It almost destroyed James. Now, James has since then moved on to a different lifestyle. He's married and has a son who's healthy and amazing. So God does move and work in very mysterious ways. But yeah, it was a nuts time for all of us trying to contemplate the reality of making this trip in a real sense of like facing death to go find these answers out. So yeah, good luck on this one for sure, guys.
Oh
I
yeah.
hope.
Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Oh, who
No.
was Josh or Gene?
That was probably me. I was just saying, yeah, good luck if it's be safe if you're going. It's not something I'd ever do.
Yeah, that's what I put in the chat there. It's 30 degrees Fahrenheit is like the high temperature. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a vacation for me.
No,
I mean, it's warm inside the tent, but you know, if I went down there to watch the sun, I'd be outside as much as I could watching the sun. And yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
And what you guys think about the possibilities of being there a sun or some kind of phenomena, right? You guys think that they might be able to fake it? Is there a possibilities or technologies that exist, holographic or simulators or
I don't think they do.
reflectors?
I think you're going to get cloud cover. I think you would need multiple seasons of there being a 24-hour sun to be able to compare just days to days to days to days and have that data set to be able to say, because there's going to be so much cloud cover. Right. Just because it's light out doesn't mean the sun is necessarily out in Antarctica, does it? Don't you have to visibly see the sun to be able to say, I see the sun in Antarctica? So if it's cloudy, well, that day's shot. Now you don't see the sun. It's bright out. Okay, but
Let's pretend it's clear, right? And do you think these people have the possibility to fake this?
China built a fake sun.
But we're going to be looking at it with solar filters and things like that. Can they fake sunspots and the rotation that it's supposed to show?
He was asking, can it be faked? I'm saying China built a fake sun.
No, yeah,
now, you just read us a story while we were waiting to go live about a fake star they're putting out there to calibrate telescopes.
Teletubbies built a fake. Let's be serious. I mean, just because they say they built a fake sun doesn't necessarily mean it's going to produce anything remotely close to what an actual sun is going to look like.
There are many videos on TikTok and people like with their mobiles with the sun doing crazy stuff. The sun looks different. The sun is freaking white, right? At sunrise, it's not even 2 minutes yellow and it's white light right in the morning. Right.
Well, is it the sun that's changed, or is it the medium between us and the sun that's been being sprayed since 1994 with all these weird trails up in the sky? That's 30 years now of high altitude aerosol dispersion, I'll say.
And
exactly. Could be. Go ahead, Josh.
Even with the high altitude aerosol dispersions in the atmosphere, if you point your phone camera at the sun and you blow out your sensors, the sun's going to do some really weird things. The sensors in the camera is going to make the sun look in a very specific way. That's why you see them look very specific one way throughout. You'd be surprised how much you can fuck up a camera's just by pointing it at the sun for too long.
Oh yeah, and it acts weird when it's in the cloud or these fake clouds or the whatever they're spraying, right? It just literally melts in that, right? That kind of thing. Maybe Zach is correct that maybe it's because of that so much of that chems that is affecting, right? But the light is crazy. It's white. It's like even if there is this clear sky, you see that really bright white, right? It's strange. I don't know. We are all 50 plus here, right?
yeah.
We've been observing sun all our life, right? More than this generation, because this generation is looking at the mobile, right? We've been kids outside in the 80s, and right, and looks weird. I think there is a possibility of faking because technology is reached to a level that we guys cannot even imagine that this kind of it looks magical to us, right? If they can do weather manipulation, and so they might, and hologram and holographic or with reflector, they might have something that they could, which looks very magical to us, because the eclipse was strange, right? There's a lot of sky phenomena which strange. The people are seeing two suns, some are seeing other objects behind. There are some people seeing some are saying it's lens flare, right? So many crazy stuff was happening during the eclipses.
We had Chris Van Matra on a few years ago. Well, hell, Zach, you better tell this story.
Which one?
The second
The
son.
second son, and the
Yeah,
fact that it's
that's-
definitely not lens flare.
Yeah, that's a weird one. He and Crow have caught it now, and you can only see it with a double stack hydrogen alpha filter on your camera. And Chris's setup, he's got like that with the solar telescope. It was like $3,500 just for that. And if you want to get one for your camera, for a little one for my small camera was like $700 for this lens, just the filter. And I wasn't going to spend that for just that filter. But yeah, you can actually see like a different light source that you can't see with your eyes. Now, a lot of people said, well, it's got to be something with the double stack, this or that. It's a lens flare that just doesn't move when you move your camera around. And then we took out a piece of Polaroid filter while he was over here. And when you rotate a Polaroid filter in front of it, it would actually blacken it out. And it wasn't like it would just go from light to black. It would actually, like an eclipse, it would like cover it just like an eclipse covers the moon. It was crazy. And that rolls out lens flare right there.
And Crow 777 also had caught it. And kind of like his lunar wave thing, he really didn't want to talk about it a whole lot until we told him that we had gotten Chris had caught it too. And so he came on the show, and him and Chris bumped heads on it. And he showed how he did the same kind of thing, went way down and way over here. I mean, it just doesn't seem to be a lens flare. And it's been caught by so many different people. There was a guy named Danny from Daytona a few years ago who was out walking his dog and literally threw his cell phone up and caught, dude, it was like 3 or 4 suns just kind of in the clouds as it polarized through the fucking clouds. And that's about, with Chris and Cammie, really, with the whole polarizing of the light thing. That was her secret
Yeah, I
sauce,
wouldn't even
man.
have thought of
Right.
do that. That was all Cammie for sure. But yeah, so they're still working on. I know Chris has been super busy lately, and they had that big storm through Houston, so it's just been crazy for him. I know Crow's been taking pictures of the sun just about every day. He puts them on Twitter and stuff like that, or X, whatever you want to call it now. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what they come up with. I'd love the equipment. I'd go out every day. I'd have to move because I barely see the sun here. It's like I can't see it in the morning. I can't see it in the afternoon. I'd have to go somewhere to do it. It's not like back home in Indiana where I just stand out in my yard and can see forever.
Oh yeah, I've been speaking to a lot of people on TikTok, right? Globe earthers, flat earthers, PhDs, right? So I've also spoken to some globers who was claiming that they've been to Antarctica and they have seen the 24-hour sun, and I was trying to get in more deeper and asking, what did you actually see? How does the sun behave, right? And the only thing he could tell me was, because he couldn't tell at which direction he was seeing, all he could say was the sun was just going up and down.
Now, how could did he have permission to go out of his tent for the 8 hours of tent time?
No, he was claiming that he was into Navy and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's something that's really weird, guys. Liz Iron Maiden was saying before that, and we were talking about last week also, that there's some sort of time limit where they want you in your tent between certain hours, that you can't even go out because of your neighbors. They don't want people disturbing the other passengers.
Yeah, I think it's
the other
between
visitors.
10 and 6 in the morning. 10 at night to 6 in the morning, but it's daylight the whole time.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's
I
kind of
never heard
Yeah.
of anything like that. Stay
When
in
you
your
told
room.
me, when I heard that, it reminded me of that whole thing about the nighttime trips with the windows on the plane, and they shut your windows at a certain time. Remember all that? It was like a big thing for a while. Oh man, it was a certain plane that even had a better view of the sky, and they made them close them at a certain time of night every time. It's like,
Why?
what the fuck?
What's the big concern about that? It's like, they claim that you can't go across the Pacific, can't go across the Antarctic because of health reasons, dangerous. That they care for our safety. Why don't they do anything about the 200 dead people on Mount Everest? That doesn't make any sense when you compare the two.
Oh yeah, and then also I have another guy who was a flat earther who was also into Navy, and he says there is no 24-hour sun, right? So that's amazing too, right? And then also I had met some PhD, and we were speaking, is it really possible to see a 24-hour sun, right? So he was also mentioning that maybe there could be, because of the dome or because of the reflection, you might see some accumulation of light, or there might be something possible even on a flat earth, but it will still be not to you. It will never be around behind you, right? So the other thing they could also make sure is with the orientation from all the time, right? North, south, east, west, like always tracking it in that sense, right? And making sure that it's not going behind your head, right? So even if it's just happening in front of us through whatever phenomena, because of those sundog or the reflection, right? There might be a possibility, right? This was some flat earther who claims to be a PhD, right? But he himself was saying that if it's through the south, it's not possible. It's not possible.
Well, now, I know Cammy has some ideas on that. And with all kinds of stuff, because even the inside of a magnetic field, the polarization that goes on there can do some really weird stuff with light. Like it can mirror it if it hits it at the right angle, and there's just all kinds of really weird stuff that could be going. I remember back in the 90s, do you remember those? They were called the Enquirer, the National Enquirer. Those were my grandma's papers.
Dude, that was the paper from my grandma. Yours too.
Yeah. Those are grandma's papers. Don't mess those up. Those are grandma's papers. Yeah. But I remember one, it had a NASA scientist goes crazy and claims the Earth has 3 suns. And he was down in Antarctica.
Oh, dude.
And I can't find any recollection of that at all.
I know. I was about to go look it up, but I'm sure you tried. But I bet you can find the Batty Boy episode. Issues.
There could be some crazy stuff going on down there.
Well, here's the thing that I still, to me, I don't see how a 24-hour sun is unsettling it of either direction, because even in Oregon, which is only, what, 30 degrees more north than I am now, the sun would still be visible over there in the distance at 2 o'clock in the morning, going around that way, taking the circle. About 3 o'clock, maybe it got full dark over there. But by 4 o'clock, here comes the sun. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So, I mean, to me, I saw a 24-hour sun basically right there. You know, I didn't sit out there 24 hours to see it, but I saw that event happen a lot because that was early on, heavy duty. I had a new phone. I had a new.
And that's your time to be up.
And that's I'm a night owl. And at that point, I was doing like moonlight experiments with like my brother's laser gun, you know, really bad experiments, and I was doing all kind of looking at everything. And yeah, when I saw that happening every night, I'm like, well, there's the sun right there. It's going around above me. There's no fucking doubt that that's what's happening. So, and I'd only gone a few degrees north. I'm in Louisiana, they're in Oregon, but it still doesn't settle it for me. It just means that.
Well, if you're in McMurdo Station, then you're seeing a 24-hour sun, that makes it really hard on a azimuthal equidistant projection, right? Having that being in McMurdo Station and seeing that sun 24 hours a day, when you have somebody on the other side of the plane that sees their sun while it's 12 hours a day or 14 hours a day.
We all have our own sun, though. So remember that thing? Remember that whole thing? Who's that? Who was that?
Who was that?
Man. I don't know, but they were heavy on it.
Was it personal atmospheric something?
Something.
Yeah, your personal atmospheric dome.
Dome, that's what it was.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, we've been in this a minute. But look, I'm kind of like, you know, the whole idea of the if they see it, okay. And I mean, I don't know, like you said, Zach, Cammy, with the idea of the light and the magnetic stuff, and then I still don't think we understand at all what that sun is. I know Austin's making some great video. I saw you in chat, Austin. He's making some great shots of it. I don't know what that is. Don't know what it is. Don't know what it is, and don't know how. Especially when I'm like, okay, well, there's this one and there's this one we don't see. And then what happens during the eclipse? Okay, I don't get that. And then I saw these videos of the eclipse plane and everybody's looking out the windows with their big setups all locked in. But this dude's walking around with his camera and he's just talking to people. And he goes, looks through the window, and what he sees is a bunch of fucking clear globes in the sky that go out and you see them. And then the other one lights up and it becomes the sun. And that's what the fucking eclipse was. And the idea of what goes on at the North Pole and the fucking projection there. And I mean, I don't think this settles anything, even if they see it. I really don't.
And they're not going to see it.
That's just my opinion. But they're not going to see it because it's cloudy. Josh?
There's going to be lots
of Josh for the weather. Let's go to Josh for the weather.
It just makes sense. There's going to be lots of cloud. I mean, the Sahara Desert is a pretty big desert. When you think about all the sand and just the huge breadth and how big it is, it's still small in comparison to Antarctica, which is Earth's largest desert. I don't know. There's no way to say that, hey, I was out there 24 hours a day the entire time the sun was out there for 24 hours a day, and I saw it the whole time. Wasn't one day I did not see the sun. I just don't believe it. That's why this would take a dozen years of observations to be able to compare. I mean, at the very least, and that's just to get started. They should have been doing this, and who says they haven't been for decades already.
1950 something when they got down there.
Yep, from the first time they fucking broke ice and said, "Oh shit, why is it still light out?"
Yeah, that was one of the biggest tells to me in 2015 when I went and looked this up, because I had heard about the 24-hour sun up north. And so I went looking for a 24-hour Antarctic sun, and there was not one even mention of it being noted down. And I was like, wait a minute here. You're telling me humans went down there, a scientist went down there, and decided they didn't want to be the first scientist to document this. There still hasn't been. Not want to do it legitimately.
They got a lot of other important stuff to do.
Yeah. It's like, come on, dude. Yeah, that blew me away. Just the lack of anything. There was one video of a guy in a tent. He could have been in Colorado for all I know. And he unzips his tent. He shows his watch, and it says like 1 a.m. Unzips the tent, looks out, and the sun's like right here above this mountain peak. And then he shows his watch again, and it's like 9 a.m. But he looks out, and the sun is right above the exact same mountain peak. I was like, no, wait a minute. Okay, if it's light out, I get that, but the sun moves still. It's not just going to stay in the sky in that one spot the whole time, and there's the sun. So yeah, I had questions about that one right off too.
Oh yeah, and also like people were looking, right, where can I locate myself a house or a hotel where I can see 24 hours sun in the north. And there were so many things popping up, right? And then people try to search the same thing in the south, and there's nothing, right?
Good luck.
So this is the thing. And also, for example, we know how the sun works in the north, 24-hour sun. Here, even in Spain, in summer, the sun sets at 10:30 p.m., right? And it rises maybe at 6 something, but even before that, you have the light, right? So you have a very short night. It's not very long, right?
That's late, man. 10:30 is late.
Oh yeah, and you still have, yeah, and you still have light. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, by 9 o'clock, the latest. We got like another week left. By 9 o'clock, it's dark.
That's how I was up in northern Indiana. It was about 9 o'clock. We would be dark.
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Y'all are on the east, right? That's wild. Because in the west, dude, it was like he's talking about. It would be 11 o'clock, still light outside.
Wow.
That's why you would still see the sun out over that way at 2 and 3 in the morning. It wouldn't be sun visible, but it would still be.
I think Oregon's still a little bit higher, though, Walter. I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here even in summer at 8, 9, it's hot. It's like, right, and after it starts to cool, but you still have light and the sun, and it's crazy. Yeah. So how? Sorry, there's a lag. Who was going?
No, I was looking at the map trying to find it. It is a little more north, but yeah, that's still wild. It's that much different.
Your mic switched again, Walter.
So guys, don't you all think that if there's a 24-hour sun in the south, then Chile, South Africa, and south of Australia should have a 24-hour sun? Don't you all think so?
I think it only happens in the Arctic circles. So you have to be like 62 degrees or closer to the pole. I believe that's where the Arctic. Let me check.
Yeah, because a sun, if we see, covers a lot of distance of light. All right, it's not just
like dusk
1,000 miles.
Right, like the pre-dawn and dusk light.
Imagine that, 66.33 degrees.
Oh yeah, we were checking the map today also. Yeah, 66.33.
That's pretty.
And that's what.
These guys, really.
And that's north and south?
Let me check.
I mean, I'm not quite sure. Like tilt, I reckon. Might make it different. But you would think that even at some point, I don't know.
Yeah, it should be visible because the sun is not so local to be in that part of the zodiac. Because if you see the Tropic of Capricorn is not very near to the south, and the sun is not going below that tropic, right? And the Tropic of Capricorn is not that far away from the equator, or right?
Hmm.
So what the hell is happening there?
I think it has something to do with that coffee cup caustic. Jaron was showing some really cool stuff on the last Glowbusters about that, where the actual visual sun you see, like if you're standing over here, it can actually appear to be going past what would be like directly east of you or directly west of you. That the light that you see because of that stuff bouncing off or whatever it's doing will actually appear actually to the south a little bit. So I don't know. That's what broke my brain the most when I was studying the sun, was the whole rising and setting to the south of your east or west when you're south of the sun. That made
It
no.
almost broke Rob. Remember, Josh? Rob was making
Mhm.
marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was about to leave flat Earth over it.
That's when I gave up trying to figure out what the sun was. It about drove me crazy. No joke. Like I was out there every day taking pictures and taking notes and measuring sunspot rotations, and I had bought a sextant, which I've now just sent to Austin. I hope it was a good thing. I hope I see a lot of the old me in him right now, what I went
Yep.
through.
Yep.
You might want to book a therapy session. A lot of them will work on a sliding scale, so you don't have to necessarily pay a whole bunch, but it never hurts to have that on standby in case you need it.
So many people were saying different conspiracy, right? This is a conspiracy, right? We all know the community is so huge. You have so many people speaking about this. So many people have different opinions, right? We all know that, right? And so you hear a lot of things, right? So one of the things just stand out a lot to me was somebody was saying, right, that this would be yeah, it's curious, and it's funny too, right? That's why I'm sharing with you all guys, right? Said maybe this is because it's gonna be the beginning of the Project Bluebeam, right? They all are gonna get abducted, even the Glovers, and they're gonna be shown like that the aliens took them. And I don't know, like, flat earthers gone to prove the Glover alien existed because they triggered the alien in the Antarctic.
That's
I don't know.
great.
What's funny about to share with you guys? What you guys think?
So I first realized the real reach that YouTube has and that they were willing to exert on our live streams when we tried to do a show and cover an episode of a cartoon called The Smurfs. And it was a particular episode wherein one of the Smurfs for his birthday wants to go to the moon. So, because they love him so much, the other Smurfs drug him and knock him out. They fake a rocket launch onto like a set of a moon where they pretend to have aliens and pretend to be on the moon. And then they drug him and pretend to fly him back to Smurfville or wherever the hell village is. And that was his birthday experience, was having got to fly off to the moon via hallucinogenic mind control. I don't know. But they
That's
shut this down
hysterical.
because they didn't want me doing with the Smurfs. But I don't know. I think you isolate them like that in such a controlled environment, and you can control even more a controlled environment. You just I don't know. Just seems like a recipe for disaster.
It does. I have to agree.
But look at the disclosure they offer, though. You know, they put it in a cute cartoonish way and in a side
Right.
story, and but
Oh, they always show us the real stuff in our fiction,
yeah.
and then the
Hey, did you
bullshit
guys
on the news.
did any of you guys see the movie Capricorn 1? It's from the
That
70s,
grew
like
up in the 70s.
1978.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw it at the theater. Fucking
Oh
A.
man,
Yeah.
that movie! I don't want to give any spoiler alerts, but that movie blew me away. I was just like, wow, look what they're telling us here. I recommend that to anybody listening. Check out Capricorn 1. Pretty cool.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, right. He had like 7 lines in it. He just kind of stood there a lot.
And the lawyer from Law and Order.
Oh, really?
Sam Waters, I think his name
Okay.
is.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Law and Order. Didn't they film that in Manhattan? In Brooklyn?
It was, I don't know if they did or not. I know it was supposed to be there, but I just found out not that long ago that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is not filmed in Philadelphia.
Funny.
And that blew my mind. I was like, what? Wait, what? But yeah, that it has nothing to do with Philadelphia. It's shot out in LA. So I don't know where anything's shot. I don't know.
Most of it's in Georgia.
Green screen.
Yeah.
There is a lot in
Green
Georgia.
screen.
They actually do a lot here in Louisiana. They just wrapped Spinal Tap 2 recently in New Orleans.
Really?
Whoever offers them the best tax breaks is where they're going to go to shoot their movies.
True.
So it's like a package deal, and they just come, and it's just like wooing anything else you'd want. You throw money at them, and you say, come here, do your stuff here. That way we can put up our little Georgia peach at the end of the credits, and everybody will know it was shot here.
And then they have a tourist attraction next year.
Yep. I want to go see where that was shot.
Yeah. I want my picture taken.
Hey, what's up, Cammy? How you doing?
We are not hearing you if you're talking. You were unmuted.
Unmute.
I hope the new Spinal Tap movie is half as good as the first one, because the first one was so great.
It was great, man.
And Rob Reiner and all. I'm not a Rob Reiner fan, but that movie was awesome.
Hey, lady.
There you are.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Cammy, hi.
How are you doing?
I think the bots are affecting all of our audio.
There you are.
Hi, Cammy.
We see you. We do hear you too.
I don't think she's hearing us.
Are you not hearing us? She's probably trying to turn the speaker on and having issues.
Uh-oh. I was about to say it could be bandwidth too.
Yeah, sometimes if you jump in and out, you re-click in.
Mm-hmm.
We get that a lot.
Yeah, she wanted to come in and at least say hi to you guys. She's out in Denver. Yep, I'm just getting a text right now. Her mom had broke her leg, so she's out there taking care of her and stuff. So, yeah. Oh, she can't hear us.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything you want me to tell her, guys?
We love her. We miss her. Stay strong.
Yeah,
and
best of luck with everything out there.
Yeah, big hugs to her and to mom. I'm glad she's feeling better.
Yeah.
All righty, will do. I'm going to send this real quick.
And tell her she's welcome anytime, too, you know.
Definitely will. Definitely will. I didn't know the cat had turned off my camera, too. At least that time she didn't hang me up.
Cats.
So, yeah, if this thing is legit, yeah, go ahead.
Go right ahead. I was ready for the next question. So
Oh yeah, if this thing is legit, maybe it's a favor for the flat Earth, right? Because we know that it's very difficult, other than if there is something this strange light phenomena is happening, right? Even though like this, we can pinpoint and make it sure that it is the sun or not, right? It can really, but you think they're gonna make it so easy
No, I
because
don't
it's
think they're even going to do it, in my opinion. It'll be
oh
like the
yeah,
Greater Sapien one where they said they were going to fly over Antarctica, go from South America over to Australia. And
Right.
he crowdfunded like 20 grand, and then they took the money and never saw any of it. They canceled it for whatever reason, weather or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, that was it. Just we're not doing it, and that's it. Yeah.
you mean the pilot guy?
No, this was a guy, what was that, 2015, 2016, or something like that? They were going to do a flight over Antarctica, supposedly. And it was like 20 grand a
Okay.
ticket. And a Glober guy crowdfunded it and got the 20 grand together. And then it got canceled, and supposedly he never got any of the money back. That was the story.
Oh yeah, we also had some because been on Facebook groups for a very long time, right? And I ran few too. So there was a couple of group who was trying to do some Antarctica and crowdfunding, and after they disappeared, right? Not disappeared that they went to Antarctica, but there was nothing information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like they were saying, they've been told that they had like a clearance to go explore almost, and this stuff and that stuff, and it all fizzled out. It's just, yeah, I don't think they're going to let us out there. I
Exactly. In
don't
the end,
think
it
we
may.
were supposed to go out there. If it really is like the sun doesn't go out there, and eventually you go to where there is no sun, even if it's light, if there's no trees or anything like that. Now there could be forest and all, other worlds out there. I don't know. But if it is just ice and mountains and stuff like that, why would you want to go? I just don't see. I don't know. And then maybe hit a
so
dome. I don't know.
right.
I don't personally think it's just ice. I think that's what they kind of want us to think.
Yeah,
It's
no, I
just
think
Yeah.
frozen
there could be all
wasteland.
kinds of stuff out there.
But then we
I've
got
seen
Admiral Byrd said that there's an area the size of the United States that's still
yep
unexplored. You know,
mountains of coal. Mountains of coal. He said
yeah,
there. And
big
also the other
lakes.
part is to me the Kobayashi map, man, the one in Honolulu, Hawaii from like 20 or some shit, and it's got there's the A&E projection, and then there's the stuff outside it, and it's like, well, okay, but then there's that map I walked across in the frickin' airport in Houston. It's the flat Earth map, and it's got the Tree of Life, and it's below a dome, and there are lands outside those rings as well. So I don't doubt that they know about other lands, and it's probably their little paradise places. That's why we can't go there, and that's why we can't get the like. Remember all those rules and regulations that got released about no fossil fuel? You had to go in rigged boats, no food on deck. What? No fruits and vegetables on deck. What? Why? So a bird don't fly by and bring some of that shitty crap they feed us to their fucking fantasy world, and now they got shitty food over there growing. I don't know. It's just too many weird things trying to keep us away from there. I think there's just so much more there than the frozen wasteland.
Did you guys hear about the story recently, within a year and a half, about a guy who trekked across Antarctica by himself? He was on Joe
I
Rogan.
remember. Yeah, I remember.
Remember that? And he had he, he, he was lugging a 200 or 300 pound sled behind him, and I was just like, God, there's no way he did that. And then they show the route he took, and it's just this little tiny portion. It was like not
Like
What
that
do you
little
guys
part
even?
that sticks out, he like cut
Yeah,
across
right,
it a
right.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and they want to try and claim he crossed Antarctica.
I think it was
Would it?
like 20 something degrees away from where he started. Like if you go longitudes over. So he came
Okay,
down here and then like 20 some odd degrees he came out. It's like that's not
hysterical.
across. That's not near 180. Sorry.
And I don't know how many times you had to lug a 200 or 300 pound sled behind you, but I can't imagine that was easy. And I can't
No.
picture it really realistic at all, actually. 200 pound sled behind you in 20 degrees?
Like you
Nah,
couldn't take dogs.
yeah,
Dogs not allowed
nah,
to
because
poop in Antarctica.
the list of things you got to comply to get in there is just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
It's not like it's a sheet of ice either, right? It's not like you're just going to be able to skim across
Right.
this thing with this 200 pounds.
No,
This is crevasses and mountains and
right. And probably, not such packed snow. It's like you said, it's not just this sheet of ice that you're just going to be like, wee. I don't think it's like that at all. But it is just speculation going on things we've heard and what they're telling us. So not much else we can go on.
I want to see him carried up Mount Baldy in the winter, and then I'll believe that he has
Right?
the ability to climb up because they say it's like 14,000 feet. Antarctica, it's like plateaued and blah, 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 14,000
Right.
feet. Well, that's about Mount Baldy. Yeah, you get that 200, 300-pound sled when it's all snow covered and you carry that thing up
Right.
Mount Baldy for me.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do it across, 20 miles of New Jersey in the
Yeah.
winter. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to work.
Also, this is the thing. Like a lot of flat earthers don't believe in extra land. They believe that is the ice. They believe there is the wall all around, and they believe the dome is there near New Zealand. So, according to the name of your team, Iron Realm, I think you guys believe in extra land, right? Or am I wrong?
I don't have a clue, man. That's like my answer. Just I don't know. Speculation. I mean, if gun to my head, I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't been there. Haven't been there. But I've seen a lot of things. As I said, the Kobayashi map, which I'll drop that here in a minute. I was looking for it. The map I saw in Houston made into the floor. There's that was the book, Land Beyond the Poles, the naval expedition that went up into the other worlds out there beyond the poles. Okay,
And there are many, brother. There are many, many more, and some of those
lots
maps,
more.
some of those maps can cost you $20,000-$30,000, real ones, ancient
And then that one that
maps.
Zach was showing the other night with all the little king areas.
Yeah, the Urbano Monte.
Ghana.
map.
Oh yeah, that also has a lot of detail, right?
That map is awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
one of my
there's a
favorites.
guy. I gotta find the channel name because I'm not gonna do it justice. Geez, oh Pete's. Let's see. I was just talking about him on the show Friday night, I think. Maybe Friday morning. No, Thursday night. Jeez. Too many shows.
Oh yeah, I can't keep up, right? So many
Yeah.
different conversations.
Mhm. I know he's near the bottom of the F. Where's it at?
Oh yeah, there are amazing maps, amazing map. We've been looking into a lot of them. A lot
His
of them.
channel name is Flatworks. And he mostly does a lot of videos about Antarctica. It's really good stuff, really good research. But he went through the Urbano Monte map and he translated all the Italian to English. And it talks
Oh
about
yeah,
all the different kings and how they have to watch these edges and they're like in charge of keeping, people from going out into that part of the Antarctica.
Exactly. You don't remember, Gene? We did it in the Antarctica. Is a 500-year-old T3 podcast few
Oh
years
yeah,
back,
yeah.
and we
That
were
was a great show, great map. The whole conversation is fascinating, bro. I
we
love
have
it.
covered exactly. We have covered it few years back, and I was translating it because it's translated from Latin. So we could translate few things, right? And in that podcast, I was also mentioning the real reason why Admiral Byrd was sending there, because that the real issue was the land claims, right, near to the Chile, and with the Chile government, and those other people on the other side, and this controller government, right? There's a lot of things in that map if we see with a magnifying glass. I also had one video, especially of that one Monte Urbano map, really gone viral, and there was a lot of information about that map too. Yeah, so that's just one of many hundreds, and I think these are all coming from all the sources, even Monte Urbano, because if you see Monte Urbano, it's very similar to Gleason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very similar to Gleason. So these are all from the ancient, even Pyri Rice map, right? There are maps which are showing vegetations, rivers, fertile lands, even
Hydra
globes.
animals.
Exactly, even some globe maps are having fertile lands on where is supposed to be the so-called Antarctica. And also we speak about how these things are, how do you say, shared like a pie between all of them, all these countries. So it's also mentioned there Spain, Germany, like different countries. So that was the title of the podcast, that the Antarctica Treaty is more than 500 years old, because they are literally
I want to see
have.
it for sure.
Yeah, it was probably more than a year ago we did that.
Right. If you can think about dropping it to me, Gene, do, because it'll probably take me a minute to find it. I dropped
Oh,
some
no
stuff
problem. Yeah, don't
in
look.
the.
I'll get it for you.
Thank you, man. On the
No problem.
live show and on the show chat. Sorry, I've got the cat walking here. I'm afraid she's going to disconnect me. I've dropped the video I made, which I could probably find the pictures. It would just take a lot longer, but I did make a video of my walk around that map that shows like the golden little lines are like outside of the circle line, which is the circle of Antarctica on most A&E projections. And there's like little lines that are made of gold in the floor outside that, and you can see all these other lands that are parts of those lines. It's crazy as fuck. And then the next link would be that Hawaiian Gazette story about the Kobayashi map and how it was locked away in a Tibetan monastery for years, and they discovered it. And then the last thing is the Urbano map, like the most amazing link I ever found for that map, where you can literally go in and look at the grain of the paper almost. They've reproduced it so well. If you go dig around in that little link, it's got crazy details.
Oh yeah, David Ramsey, right?
Yep, that's it. You know, I knew you would be ahead of it, but just in case, I dropped it.
Nice, awesome. It's an awesome quality one too. The real map was like 3 meters by 3 meters.
Yeah, huge, fucking huge. Yep, huge.
Yeah, and they tried to wrap it around the globe, but it wasn't possible.
I see what you're showing, but I don't think everybody else did that.
Yeah, this is like a friend got this as a wedding gift like 40 years ago or something like that. 30, I think it's like 38 years ago now. But it's got Tartaria is a huge thing on there. I don't know if you can see that right along here.
That's cool. Can't really see it on my phone, but interesting.
And then down here, and we've got some Terra Vista in Antarctica. It's got
Terra del Fuego. Yep.
A rhinoceros with a horn on its back. It's got a unicorn.
Well, the rhino was possibly what they described as a unicorn. I've heard it's the
Terra
only animal
de
got one
Ucach,
horn.
Ucach. It's got a griffin-looking thing. Lots of mountains. Terra incognita. I don't know. There's a bunch of words on here.
Yeah, it's
If you
like
use your
unknown lands.
phone for some of that stuff you can't read, it'll decode it for you. It'll like translate it sometimes.
Yeah, Terra Incognita sounds to me like hidden land.
Oh, fucking A. And remember, this is the one I found just a couple weeks back cleaning up the mother-in-law's house. Right there it is. Tartaria, all right there across the top of it. And the North Pole definitely doesn't look like what they show us now, and neither does, you know, fuck, it's crazy. I don't know what year this is from. I don't know why she had it. The base wasn't there. It was just in her stuff. Anyway.
Oh yeah, the ancients have left us a lot of stuff like this. A lot of stuff, devices and scripts and maps. Like only if we really look it with the eyes, right? Even on the Monte Urbano map, it's showing the eclipses and the reason for the eclipses. That's what I shared on Jaren's speaker corner, that I was once on there just before eclipses and showing the stellar vision, how to use that star map, and what could be really happening, right? The combination of sun, moon, Venus, and Mercury, and the magnetic north, right, involved in making the eclipses, right? That was right from the Monte Urbano map. If you really look it in the left corner, you can see that.
Oh yeah, there's so much information packed into that thing. I think that's 1590, or is that 1592 or 1598?
Yeah, a few hundred years, I think so.
Man, that's
And you
crazy.
can see that the Sahara is full fertile. So what is happening, right? In few hundred years, it's already become a desert, or these people have some kind of technology to just
Look at California just over the last 50 years. It used to be lush and green and full, all kinds of plant life and animal. Now it's starting to look more and more like a desert. People move in, take up all the water. There's not any left over. You know, they go up in the mountains and take it before it can run down the mountain at the bottom. Yeah, it's us probably doing that certain places.
You mean there's regular people or government?
Well, no, just look at how many people live in California
I'm not sure. The
along that
influx
coast.
of it. A lot of people.
It's the most
moved out there?
populated state in the country.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, you know, all up and down that coast is just jam packed with people.
Yeah, it's big too, though.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's huge.
But yeah, if you look at aerial photography from over the last few decades,
Right.
it was all green, and then you see it getting, you know, a little bit browner, then a little bit browner, and it all started like from the bottom and moved its way up the mountain, and it's because of all the water they're taking. That's my guess. Yeah. So maybe something like that happened. I don't know. It also looks like some kind of crazy. It looks like Northern Africa kind of got washed over. Like if you had a big, huge, giant bucket of water and just took it and went whoosh. If you look at the aerial photography from that, it just has like water or something all ran off into the Atlantic Ocean in Northern Africa.
So guys, Zach and Walt and Josh, on IRM chat, I just sent an image. So if you guys would just want to check, right? So this is also kind of how the ancients are telling us what this realm is. Right? It's like a map, but of the stars. And there are many.
That's gorgeous. It's on Telegram, guys. If
Zoom it up and see it, guys. You see that flower of life. That you can see the tree of Kabbalah right there. They're telling us the truth.
Yeah, Kimmy's gonna dig this for sure. Yeah, I see lots of stuff Kimmy's gonna dig into.
They have lots of stuff like that. I'm yep.
Yeah, Cammy's gonna get into this one.
Ironwork, the one I
The
sent
turtle
you
is
about.
right there, dude. She's gonna love it. That's fucking great.
Ironwork, the one we shared, brother. Earlier, I shared with you also about the tree of Kabbalah, or looking in the sky, showing the movements of the sun and the moon, and with all the zodiacs. It looks like that mechanism. It looks like the Antikythera mechanism, right? So there are many other star maps or star charts or sky charts or celestial charts like these ancients, the same amount of maps we have. So there's so much of information hidden right there in front of us.
Wow.
Kimmy, I sent it to your Skype.
Right. I was gonna say she got it yet. I was about
Yeah,
to.
she's gonna have to find a better version though that she can blow up and get all the writing and stuff and translate it. That's awesome though.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's a pretty decent version right there. Like I'm looking at the one I
No,
just
I
sent.
couldn't. Well, I'm on my phone too, but I couldn't see down in the bottom right.
Oh, on the PC you can. On the PC you
You
can.
can see it a little better on PC, and then you can do
Yeah.
a image search, and I'll find.
You got to download it first too. Zach might help and open it up.
Right.
From your...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, guys, it makes me think with all these old maps, did they have aerial ships to view these things? And some of them are pretty accurate, and some of the details and placement of other and things in between are pretty accurate to do that from the ground. But maybe they could. I don't know. Just asking what you guys thought.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of compelling evidence for the amount of airships that used to be floating around. Come on, baby. She is right in the middle of the keyboard. God damn, sweetie. No, and now the other one's here, so it's going to be a fuss and fight. Don't be ugly.
Famous cats.
Oh, yeah. I can play with that. I'm trying to get, he's the one that's wanting to play, but now she's involved, and so it's turned into an adventure.
Competition.
Anyway, yeah, they all want daddy's attention.
Yeah.
I got lost because of the cats.
And this is the thing. Oh, go ahead, Gene.
I was just wondering if you guys thought that maybe airships were involved with map making.
Yeah, the airships. That was it. I
yeah,
mean,
for sure.
There's crazy amounts of stuff that's come out, about that idea. And there are some people who are whatever, and we've got evidence of this and that and the other. Okay, we all have evidence about a whole lot of stuff, but there's still more unanswered questions to me than there are answers to any of the history lies that are out there. And the deeper you dig, the worse it gets. And I mean, when they show aerial vehicle boats designed to fucking tether to, it's like, yeah, that wasn't just let's do an experiment of seeing how we can use these things. They were deeply used at that point.
Yeah, that was the end of it, right?
Right, that was like deep in it by that point, right? So I think that's a lot of it too. Is that we just have no clue not just how many times things have gotten super advanced, and then whatever happens.
Right.
There's lots of theories on that too. I don't know. I have no clue. I've seen lots of interesting things, but I have no clue about any of that history stuff yet. It's all still the biggest mystery of all to me.
Oh yeah, so this is the thing, guys. Same like Monte Urbano map, the image what I shared. So there are more images like these which really decodes our RAM, right? So there are different versions like this where if we really look with the magnifying glass or meditate on them, truth is gonna flow. Truth is right there. We just have to focus, and we're gonna see. So why I bought this up also is because I wanted to share with you all also that we are trying to make a model because of these how the sky works, because we think that a model should consist of luminaries. If the luminaries are not involved, it's not a model, because the globe earth, it's just like a map pasted on a ball and put it on a stand, and they call themselves a model, right? If you guys have seen the mechanical realm and the image I shared, and we have more stuff related to it, like, the whole sky is supposed to be a kind of a mechanism, right? Geocentric to this earth. So we are building one. We're gonna be, how do you say, get the Antikythera mechanism printed,
So when you say
3D
mechanism,
printed. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have to ask because I'll forget, man. My memory's
Go
terrible.
ahead.
It's late.
Go ahead.
When you say mechanism, the sky being a mechanism, are you talking in a electromagnetic sense, or are you talking in a very mechanical sense?
The mechanical sense. This is the thing. That's why I asked if you guys have seen the mechanical realm. Maybe it's more easy to get it what we are trying to do, because if you see this image, or if you see the Antikythera mechanism, or if you see a spirograph or a cosmograph, it's the same thing. It's like we're speaking about a mechanical device, right? So we already have a group on Telegram. We are around 65 people. We are looking for serious supporters, and we are already up for it. We have a company who's going to be making our model of 3D of Antikythera mechanism, and we gonna be redesigning the exterior. We're gonna be adding more stuff. We're gonna be adding maybe the longitude, latitude, the time zones. Maybe we want to add the planisphere in there, right? We want to add a dome. We want to make it a circular version. We want to have the right stand, because we have another designs apart from the Antikythera mechanism, and join it together and make an amazing device, right? A real device, a functional device which tells everything from eclipses, from equinoxes, the phases of the moon, the solar cycle, the metonic, the sidereal, the tropical, the position of the luminaries, in which constellation the eclipses are happening, right? So much of information, only that mechanism, and then we're gonna be adding more stuff to it, right? And we have a group going already, and also Ironwork, Tony Coriolis. There are a lot of people, right, also there in that group, and we need intelligent people to brainstorm and make that model into what it should be, because we are nobody to make the model in reality, right? The soul of that model is that machine, that 50 plus gears, which is doing all that movement, right? That is the soul of the model, and we're going to be redesigning the structure, and as I mentioned, right, adding more things and creating because we think that we have given enough energy and effort for the truth, but we are not really leaving something for the generations to come, because this was the real model which was used before the globe came into existence, right? And we have to get it back. And in the education centers, this was really used as a cosmograph, a real planetarium, a real device, a real usable device. That's a real model. Just putting a map on a ball is not going to be a model, or even a flat earth map is not going to be a model. A model should include the luminaries, right? So yeah, just wanted to share with you guys too. You guys are welcome if you want to collaborate, right? And also for the people who are listening. But there's only one thing: that group is only for the purpose of this project, and we are not sharing anything there, anything related to flat out or anything else, or memes or promos or nothing. It's just about the updates and communication and ideas and sharing. We have some amazing people there, people who are into mechanical engineering, different people. We have artists, right? We have so we are trying to get the community, and we already like started rolling few ideas in that chat. So anybody who wants there's a link in the description, or if anybody wants, we can DM them. And yeah, as long as we know what we are doing, because we want to focus on that. We don't want it to be spammed by people speaking whatever. And that's the only difference we want there, that the people know. So we can make this project go ahead, and people are ready to, are inspired, right? People are want to do things, right? So yep.
That's exciting. That sounds awesome. Having them 3D printed out, almost like in a modular fashion, being able to add
That
stuff
was
to
my question. Was the 3D printing? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. 'cause
Yeah,
you
we'd
can do
probably
so many
like to
crazy
try to get it.
things.
Yeah, we would probably like to get it 3D printed for the precision, because it's got to be perfectly
Oh,
accurate.
exactly. Absolutely, absolutely. Now that being said, I know there are quite a few amazing people in the community who have worked with metal and iron their whole lives. You know, still, I met a guy at the first convention that was offering his services that was up in Oregon years ago with Daryl Marble and a few other people there. And he was like, yeah, man, anything you guys want me to fucking fabricate, I have a whole shop. And I mean, there's people like that everywhere. Was it Chris making the glow? I mean, the dome with the stars reflecting in
Chris
it.
Pontius.
Yeah, man, Pontius, yeah. There's so many talented, like amazing people that are out here trying to get this thing figured out. So putting them all together, man, yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah, I think we have a watchmaker up there right now.
Oh, fuck
I
yeah.
was going to say that like an old Bosnian or a Russian watchmaker in this group that knows about the gears and the spindles.
Fuck yeah.
Come here, buddy. Oh,
Now you're getting it, Gene.
I am. He's all.
Right.
There goes my computer.
Like, look, dude, you've had enough time with that headset and that other shit. Let's go.
Cats rule the house, guys.
Oh, dude, I know it too well.
That being said, I am probably going to have to bow out of here. I have to work in the morning, and we have to be up pretty early.
When we do have to do a show, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. However, guys, if you guys want, we can have our last thoughts, and for sure, it's for me. It's 4 a.m. right, and normally I start.
You're a beast. That's how we roll. We do that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So, yep.
Oh yeah, because my summer timetable, brother, it's different. That's the reason. If no,
oh yeah. Well, when you get that energy and that fire in you, you can't live normal anymore. Of course, I never lived normal anyway, so it worked out. It all worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
well,
so
I've already jumped in the group. I don't know how much I'll be able to contribute, but I have a very different outlook on things sometimes, so I might spin it a different way. You never know. I'm excited to look at it, and then I saw already a bunch of people I know popped up as soon as I hopped in. It showed me some people I knew in it, so I'm excited. Absolutely, thank you for that invitation.
Awesome, brother.
Cool.
I think Lucas is a good one for that too. Lucas would be good for that, I think.
Fuck yeah.
Moon phases.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yep. Next level stuff.
Oh yeah, 2 hours just flew by, brothers. Right? We could have been here for maybe a couple of hours more.
6 hours until our show started. Actually.
Yeah, we were just warming up.
Yeah, we're just getting started, man. It went way too fast.
However you guys want, we can do a 30 minutes more if you guys want, or we can, however you guys want. You guys are the guests here.
You want to finish at the bottom of the hour?
Bottom of the hour, like
For me, it would be like 9:30. So,
I know Josh has to work though
but it's up to
tomorrow
Josh.
after because we got to
I
be
get
live
out.
in about 7 hours.
Yeah, our show starts at 4 a.m. for us in the morning,
Yeah.
and then I'll get off.
And then he goes straight to work.
Wow.
I'll go straight into work for 8 hours, and then I'll do that again on Wednesday, and then again on Friday, and then I'll get off work on Friday and come in and do another 4-hour show.
Yeah, we're insane. That's pretty much what that is.
Yeah.
That's
Long story
some
short,
schedule, man. Wow.
yeah, it's hard to beat though. It is really such a passion project that I don't know that I'd have it any other way.
Right? It
Doing
has saved us so many times, each, all of us.
It's absolutely just a group therapy. That it's a therapy session, group therapy session that we just broadcast live on the
We
internet.
just share it with everybody, right?
And sometimes we'll
Now
let
you guys are more than welcome to come
right
hang out in a session.
book a
Anytime.
session. Right.
I appreciate you guys. Well, for sure. Yep. And continue this awesome conversations. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have to get both of you over on the show one of these times too. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll turn the tables.
Definitely.
If you
Love
guys
it.
want, we can do a show in the next week or whenever you guys want, and we can go in detail about all this project or whatever. And that could be also we could speak around that.
Absolutely. I don't think we have anything lined up this week, do we? Yet I haven't heard back yet from a few people. So yeah, absolutely.
So let us know. And
I have your connection, Vikka, over on Skype and on Telegram. And then Gene, are you in?
oh yeah,
I'll find you there in the Telegram group that I just joined there. So I'll get with you. We'll get it. We'll make it happen.
I'm there, and I'll send you that video for the Urbana moth mapping. And
thank you. I
I'll
want to
catch
see
you
it.
that video. I'll send it over
Yeah,
to you. We'll say
absolutely.
hello. Yeah, definitely.
And look, I had written notes over here to the side about 4 things I never got to, but if I start that now, we'll be here another hour. So I have topics for the next show already ready.
Awesome.
Cool.
Josh, brother, you are in a hurry. Last thoughts, brother. Last ideas.
I just want to thank you for inviting us on. It's when you sit on one side of the microphone for so long, it's always nice to be able to, I guess, the proverbial microphone, to come sit on the other and not have to worry about the production stuff and the timing stuff and all that. I just got to come in, show up, say a few words, and bounce. So I really appreciate you guys having us on. It's an absolute pleasure to be here on the Heliopsychosis with you guys. It's been a blast.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. That was great. Yes, absolutely. We could have continued for more hours. So thanks for being here and for your time, brother.
Anytime you want me on, just you reach out and let me know and I'll come running.
Josh, thanks,
Awesome.
brother. It was great to have you and good to meet you, bro. Thank you for being here with us, man.
You too, Gene. It's good to meet you. Because good seeing you again. And everybody in chat, thanks for hanging out with us this evening. It's good to see you guys here. You've been an absolute fine audience. I love seeing you guys and just the love you guys share amongst each other there in the chat too. It's great to see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. I wanted to mention that to everybody in our chat that thank you so much for being hospitable to all of our guest friends that our guests bring friends with them and they watch the show and the people that are in our chat really seem to be very friendly and I appreciate that, because not all chats are, and it can be a little uncomfortable when it gets clicky and it's like, oh, this is our chat. What do you like? Oh, what do you want?
Right.
Like a little like But
your chat was more than
guys.
welcoming, man. It was awesome. Thank you guys for letting us hang out with it. And I usually interact a whole lot more on my show because I have the other 2 guys here to hang out and let me roll the chat a bit more. But I was so wrapped up here with you guys, I didn't do it nearly enough. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Right. I have a hard time chatting and being in the conversation here at the same time. I like So
Yep.
I'm learning the ropes, you know, getting on the chat a little more. It's definitely a lot of fun, you know. It's doing both. You know, it keeps your mind open,
Oh yeah, it
expanded,
takes on a life of its own for
stretched.
sure. Sometimes it goes
Really,
off in its own direction and becomes its own separate show. So yeah.
right? Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah, because we are sharing the energy, right?
what's that?
We are sharing the energy. We all are here, and in the people chat, like they connect to
Yeah,
that, and right. So we create
yeah,
that collective energy, and people start. Awesome, that's great.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
great.
chat has
It's a
shaped
great
our
crowd.
show so much over the years. Like our show would not be what it is without the chat and without people in the chat. Like, well, freaking most everybody in there for what it's worth.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's because of the chat. It's our show is what it is, for better or worse.
Yeah, I hear you. Definitely. It was cool. And then
Absolutely.
during the week, you know, I'm doing my routine. I'm out in the garden, whatever it is, and I'm thinking about people in the chat and you guys and people from last week and things being said, and it's just awesome. You know, it really is.
Community.
Yeah. You know, I like the unity in the community. There's a lot of bickering at times, you know, like
Unfortunately, people are human, man.
yeah, like exactly what is the moon? I don't think anybody really knows what the moon is. What are you fighting over it for? We're here for the truth. Like don't forget about you know, falsification is independent of replacement. It's one of my favorite catchphrases right now because we don't really know, guys. So why are you gonna argue with somebody on our side over this for? Like, you know, save it for later, man.
I
Save it
think
for
it
the Neil
makes them that
deGrasse
much more
Tyson.
special, you know?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
They want to be the
But
ones that break the moon and figure out the moon, and they're going to have the next absolute proof. They're going to
my
be the next top flat Earth now.
my flat Earth's better than your flat Earth, you know. And
My
uh,
platter can be that much better.
Oh, we didn't go also the debate from yesterday, but maybe that's for another day, guys. So
Oh yeah,
Walt,
that would be a whole another 2 and 3 hours for sure.
for
that
sure.
guy
Yeah.
is so
My
obnoxious.
final thought will be I didn't watch much of the debate at all. I kept popping in just to see if it was almost over. I wanted to see what the final poll was. And it was like 55 to 45 or something like that for flat Earth this time.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
the
the
host.
first
Yeah,
time I've ever seen that happen before.
exactly. They did three polls. The first one was maybe a side of Glover, but then the next two polls, the host was like surprised, and we even took the screenshot because we were doing restreaming on
That's
TikTok and with a
awesome.
group of people. His face was like, "What? 61 or 63%?" And flat Earth, right? He was like, so many people converted just because of the absurdity of the professor, the no professor, right? So yeah, brother Zach. Yeah, last thoughts, brother. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's pretty much it. Just keep it up what we're doing. We don't have to come up with the next, grand thing. I mean, yeah, it's cool to do research and study and observe and gather data. That's all awesome. But we don't have to fight about it because, like Gene said, a lot of this stuff we don't know. We're possibly never ever going to know. I think that's one of the lessons of this place. It's just some things you just don't get to know. That's it. So it's like, yeah, so let's work on the stuff we can do together and point towards something instead of butting heads about things that we don't know. Yeah. Well said, Gene. I love that point. I wanted to drive
Yep,
that home.
yep,
Preach.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you
absolutely.
did.
I'll third that motion and pass it to the house. It's definitely happened over and over and over so many times where, you see people you love and care about and they're fighting, and it feels like a family fight. It feels like, something happening in your house right there across from you. And it's
Does.
unfortunate, because everybody gets passionate when it starts affecting your emotions. And it can't not affect your emotions when you realize the enormity of the lie that has been heaped on you from birth, not just by the government, but pretty much by every facet of what you were told was telling you the truth. And so now you've got to flounder around and figure it out for yourself. And it's scary as fuck, man. But when you find all these beautiful people and this family that we've created out here, getting to know everybody and connecting and coming up with these groups and these ideas, I mean, they can't stop it. They can't break it. They can't, they might take some people off and abduct them in Antarctica. They may do some kind of fake alien invasion thing. They may do all that, but we know what's really going on. We're ready. Our discernment is pretty good, and Iron Realm kind of has prided itself on steering around a whole lot of this drama, and unfortunately has cost us friends and people that we love and care for deeply, because the drama just it never helps, ever. It never helps. It only distracts
And
separates.
delays. Exactly.
Yep. So
Divisive.
yep.
People
So,
get angry
and
with each other and shoot the messenger kind of thing. No,
right,
we don't want to
and
give.
there's so much advance. I mean, the years of what we've been beating our head against, this freaking algorithm that we're sitting here beating our head against right now. The numbers are incredible. Hell, when we talked to Bobby just a couple of days ago, and he was talking about all the groups that are over there in the Philippines, it's just rampant over there. He's in like 50 or 60 flat Earth groups over there. It's everywhere. This thing is blown beyond containment at this point. So I only
Oh
see good
yeah.
things ahead.
Oh yeah, brother, absolutely. Yeah. Even after that, so much of differences, because we are all right in a way unique, and we wanna see it from different way, and so always there gonna be different opinion, right? Even at the smallest level, if we try to break apart something related to all this what we are trying to figure out as a community, there is always going to be differences for whatever reason, but in the end, as you say, we have to understand that i- we all are from the same family, right? We all are fighting for that same truth and for the same quest. So absolutely, this could have gone for much more, and I think we always get short like once we warm up, so that's great. That's nice. We will continue it again soon, right? So thanks for being here, guys. Gene, last thought, brother, before we wrap up.
Yeah, man. I had a great time, man. 2 hours just never goes so quick.
Flew by, man.
It's such a
Two and
strange
a half
thing, man.
hours, almost.
God, it's fucking nuts, bro. I can't even believe it. But now, Zach, Josh, Walter, thank you guys so much for spending your night, and happy Father's Day to everybody, you guys. We really appreciate you coming hanging out, man. We've been looking forward to it. I had a great time, and I'd love to continue it on both
Yeah,
shows. Come
we
on your
definitely
show and
will,
hang
man.
out,
We definitely will.
and
Absolutely.
you guys are welcome back anytime, guys. Love to have you. It was a pleasure. Thank you all so
Yeah,
much.
thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we do
Okay.
sometimes open mic also. So anytime you guys are around, also welcome. Anytime, jump in. We would love to also that.
Oh, that's
So
awesome. Yeah.
So that's great, and as Gene say, every to all of you guys and everybody in the chat, happy Father's Day. Thank you for your time uh, on this Sunday night. So, yep, people, there you have it. The amazing team of Iron Round Media and an awesome chat, and we're going to be having more. So, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Walt. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Gene, and thank you everybody in the chat. So make sure you guys check us out on the next episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv, signing out, guys. Love you all. Bye and good night.
Good night, everybody.